Okay, mobile development is the worst. I like this title. I structure my talk in a very classic way. I will speak about the bad part of mobile development and then the good part. So at some point of my presentation, you may have an horrible feeling about mobile development, but please don't leave the room, because that's not my point. A few words about myself. I'm Nick. I'm a consultant / CTO at Zenica, and I don't define myself as a mobile developer. I come from the web, actually, so I'm more front-end developer, and I also do back-end development with Node.js, so I'm what the industry is called a full-stack developer. I don't really like this word, but I'm used to that, so here I am. Mobile development today, it's basically these two platforms, iOS and Android. There were more actors in the past, few years ago. Microsoft was in the arena. It may also change the future, but we can reasonably consider that mobile development in 2020 is iOS plus Android. And there is two ways of addressing those platforms. You can go native development. It means like you take what the platform is offering to you, the IDE, the language, the SDK, the API, everything. For example, for iOS, you download Xcode, you code in Swift, and you deploy your app on your iPhone. Or you can go cross-platform development. There is a bunch of technology out there to address both platforms at the same time with a single code base. I don't know if you have ever heard about IMA, React Native, Flutter, this kind of thing. And the main benefit of this is the cost, because you have one project instead of two. So when I start doing mobile development, I quickly realized that one of the weirdest things that is particular to this domain is you have to make a strong commitment to a corporation that is not your direct employer. It's a code actually, I will show that, but basically we work for another firm. And it's kind of weird because you are using the language, the tools, the IDE, the corporation told you to use. So if you're an iOS developer, you don't have any other choice than developing on a MacBook with Xcode and using Swift or Objective-C. And if for some reason the corporation changed the language, it happened for both, you have to learn a new language. And I like learning a new language, it's fine, but I like learning new language on my own will, not because the corporation told me to do so. They also dictate the API. For example, Android has released Android X, which is a new naming convention for compatibility package. So you have to update your code to adopt that convention just because Google has decided to. You have to follow. You have also to follow the best practices and guidelines. It's quite a unique situation, in my opinion. You may think that, well, it's the same for any other paid product, like Unity, we heard about yesterday. Unity provides you a piece of software, and you have to code in C# and stuff like that. But it's not really the same because Unity cares for the developers. The Unity developers are the first-class citizen for Unity. And in case of mobile development, you are not the first-class citizen for Apple and Google. People who buy phones are. So, as a developer, you have to comply with all the decisions Apple and Google make for the best of the customers. If you think about it, it's also risky from a business perspective, because you delegate to those firms very important part of your business, like the distribution and the revenue. And let me take as an example, it's a German weekly magazine, Der Spiegel, huge one, like almost 1 million copies a week. And they have this app on the App Store that has 380,000 downloads, widely used. And one edition of the magazine, including a news photo. And it wasn't like offensive, it was like art. It was speaking about a photographic gallery, so it was all about shadows and pale. So it wasn't offensive, at least for German standard. But Apple decided to classify this as nudity, and it's not allowed in the store, so they just remove the app from the store without any warning. And imagine yourself as the CTO of Der Spiegel, and you have this app, it's represents like, I don't know, 20-25% of your revenue, and you wake up one morning and 25% of your revenue is gone, and you can do nothing about it because legally they can't sue Apple for that. Other example is indie game Paper Please, which is an independent video game with low resolution pixelated graphics, and you play a border engine, and you can choose to send people to a scanner to verify they don't hide anything, just like in real airport. And they find the render of the scanner, which is a new body, and the game was classified as pornography. I don't know if you have played Paper Please, but if you do, it's pornography, that's not pornography. Anyway, more seriously, the review process imposed by Apple and Google is part of your day-to-day job, and you have to comply with that from a project management perspective. It's not so bad right now, but like 3 or 4 years ago, an app released on the App Store, it could take weeks to get approved. So, why I enjoy this kind of development? I asked myself the question, and I came to 2 reasons, mostly. First one is, as a front-end developer, I like building beautiful user experience and beautiful interfaces. And mobile development is just pushing the thing to the next new level compared to web. You have a lot of different animation, a lot of pattern, applications are very easy to use, very natural, very intuitive, and I like doing that for that reason. You have a bunch of gestures like swiping, pinch to zoom, pull to refresh, whatever, and it makes the whole thing intuitive and natural. I have a 2-year-old at home, and if I give her my phone, he is able to navigate through my photo without any knowledge. It's just natural. And users are used to that feeling. And for example, on the web, if you click on a link and nothing happens for 2 seconds, it's okay, it's not that bad, you know? But on mobile, your users just get crazy. On mobile, you are used to have an immediate feedback for whatever interaction you do. You can display loader, no problem, but display something. It's also a challenge in the ecosystem, and I feel like as a developer, we don't like writing the code all day long. We love challenges, even if we don't want to admit that. And again, mobile development brings a lot of challenges. There are literally hundreds of devices out there, different versions, different OS version, different manufacturer, different software, etc. So yeah, it's interesting to bring an app to all the platforms possible. And you also have unusual use cases I discovered when I switched to mobile development. For example, you can have different versions of your app on the store at the same time. Sorry, not on the store, on the user devices. And it doesn't happen on the web. When you release a new version on the web, everybody gets this new version. But on the mobile, it's different. User can have turn off their automatic updates, and you can add at a certain point in the history multiple versions of your app currently requesting your unique backend, for example. So your backend has to comply with all the versions currently on the market. We also have connectivity issues for applications that do real-time interactions. So to be aware that at any time the user can lose the connection. And an app can be put in background for days, for example. And what the app should be do when it's open after 3 or 4 days. Good questions. Well, so yeah, mobile development is quite a challenge, but it's also very rewarding. You can tell your family, including a friend, hey, look at what I do, and keep your phone out of your pocket and show him. That's a good thing. At some point also, you are developing your application, and when you have developed your feature, for example, you tested it because you are a continuous developer, and especially from experience, after a few minutes you realize that you are not testing your application anymore, you're just playing with it. And that's one of my OMG yes moments. So, as a conclusion, there is some job related to mobile development. You can choose to be an expert in one of the platforms. You can choose to keep both skills at a decent level and be an iOS and Android developer. It's fine. And you can be a cross-platform developer like me, who doesn't know much about the native part of things, but you are able to develop an application quickly and cost efficiently. That's what the mass market wants. Don't worry too much about the right choice, because there is a huge demand in the industry for all four. I've seen iOS expert or Android expert waiting at, I don't know, 1,000 a day for their expertise. If you are both an iOS and Android developer, congratulations, you are the unicorn that everybody is looking for. And cross-platform developer, well, I do well, but I don't have to complain. I do have sold them intentionally, though, from left to right. It's not dangerous versus safe. I'm not so opinionated about Google and Apple, but it's more like coupled with the corporation behind the platform versus less coupled to corporation. And I think it's important to be aware of that. And if you choose to be an iOS developer, it's totally fine, honestly. But you have to think about the direction the ecosystem adopts, about all the decisions made, and you have to take a step back and look at what it represents for your career. Don't be a fanboy or fangirl, because at this moment it's dangerous. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.